Well, it's a good evening from the Radio FM 88 studios here in Australia, and we're back on stream here with technical difficulties with Italian Telecom, but we're all good, and it's all set to go. And Andrena, would you like to take it away and bring Michelangelo?
Yes.
Hello, good day, and welcome everybody. Thank you, Jeffrey. And today we have the beautiful Michelangelo back on again to talk about our health and wellness. And we've also got the lovely Pauline in the UK. So it's going to be an interesting show because I know the title on your flyer is Return to Nature. Where do we begin with this? Because obviously there's so much going on with people's health at the moment in so many levels, so many aches and pains, so many ailments, so many different foods that haven't got nice quality stuff in. So where would you like to start? Because I know this is all about questions and answers. I've got a list of questions from different people, so I'm not going to mention any names. So, and I know that you've got a list there, Jeffrey, as well. So do you want to read out one of your... Anyway, welcome, Michelangelo and Pauline. Lovely to see you again.
Thank you. Well, for the wonderful welcome and the patience you had. Now everything is set up. I'm very happy. And greetings to all your listeners and to people who listen to your radio. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Right, Jeffrey, do you want to read out the list? One of the questions from your list?
Let's start one by one.
Right, so...
First question from Dawn, Cambridgeshire.
Right, so a question from Dawn. She's... some advice on the following dilemma. She's looking for a bit of direction and would be grateful for some intuition and guidance. A number of years ago, she had a root canal procedure in a second molar, and now it appears that there is a small infection there. I'm not in pain. There's not just a bump in the gum, and it hardly shows up on X-ray or thermology scan. Her dentist has recommended a zirconia implant, or alternatively a bridge or a denture. So obviously, right, a minute, my preference would be the implant, but I would be interested in your opinion, as she needs to act swiftly to resolve this.
Yes. Okay, first of all, we, by principle, we are against any implant, because the implant is a great destruction of the bone tissue and destroys also the area where the meridians are, because we have to remember that each tooth is related with an organ inside the body. We are speaking about energy, not mechanics. And the body is a unit of energy, and the teeth are a fantastic dashboard where the fuses are, and they can help us to recognize if there are problems with the organs related. So already the situation that you are mentioning, reading for this lady, is there is a sort of a little infection with a little lump. We have to remember that the infection is coming from toxins which we have accumulated in the body. So the first step is to clear the intake of what we put in the body. So far, the toxic food, and here we have a lot of discussions because many people are still in the old paradigm of the proteins, of the minerals and the vitamins, which we are a little bit much farther. And the body is able to create all what it needs with very simple elements. And the best help is coming from the vegetable kingdom, because the vegetable on the earth, they are the accumulators of the sun energy. And we are units which work with the sun energy. So then when we have intoxication, or we have abscesses or lumps or whatever, this is the common sense that the normal housewife, she sweeps with a broom the dirt and then she puts in the garbage bin. Or you use the vacuum cleaner, and then the vacuum cleaner collects in the inside bag of the container all the dirt. So it is important to support the body in the process of cleaning. Now, the junk has already been accumulated in the lamp. Now the body has to release this junk in the garbage dump, and it's using the lymph circulation, the bloodstream, and then the organs which are the filters, like the liver, the kidney, and the intestine, and many other ways which the body will decide, because we start our principle, I already stated in the other talks, is nature is perfect. So far the sickness is the perfect reaction to the mistakes which have been done. But unfortunately, we have not been educated or instructed to know what are the mistakes, because we keep on thinking we need animal proteins, we need wheat, tomatoes, we drink alcohol, we drink coffee, and many other things, and the nightshades also are used. So this widens the perspective of the answer which I'm going to give. But for sure, the first thing is to avoid the concept of the implants, which are very fashionable now. We have many dentists, they define themselves holistic because they use the zircon implants. But I have seen already many people who came to me, the zircon implant sometimes breaks down, and then it's a big problem. Also, when they drill the bone to install the implant, they are drilling like you do in your house when you put something on the wall and you put a plug, these screw plugs. The body is not like that. The body is a live entity. And if she has done already the root canal, and if it's not giving her problems, it's good to clean the body, because the body uses the channels like the root canal, the infections, the abscesses, as a way to collect toxins which have been accumulated inside. So this is the first step. Of course, we then have to help the body to finish the job. So stopping the wrong food and giving more energy to the body, so the cleaning organs and the cleaning structures have more power to release the toxins which have been accumulated, and they're telling us exactly what's happening in the body, because each tooth is also related with an organ. So it's telling exactly what's happening. The gums are related with the liver and the intestine. So when we have gums problems, we don't look at the gums as a problem. We look at the organs which speak through the gums. It's like in your car, you have the dashboard and you have many little lights which have, each one have a meaning. Each one has a meaning. So you don't work on the lights. You read the manual, the instruction manual, to understand the meaning of that light. And then automatically you direct your behavior and what you have to do with your car. The body has been created by even more perfection, how can we say, the perfection of the maker, the creator. And we have indicators which are switching on in the moment in which something is out of balance, and unfortunately we create the imbalance. And I would like to mention also that not only the food can be the culprit. but we have also emotions, thoughts, stresses, because everything is an approach to the energy of the body. So when you are under stress, you know that you can have big problems on the organs which lose a lot of energy, and they don't have any more the enough quantity of energy to perform the normal natural function. So that's why I'm giving you in this moment a sort of panoramic landscape view of how the body should be regarded and observed. And of course, then in relation to what is happening in the mouth. So she needs, this lady, she needs somebody who is able to give a clear view, a clear inspection, to understand if technically it's feasible to do a crown or a bridge or whatever, or a plate, but no implants, please. This will be the disaster. Remember also the implants, they are done like so barbarically, because they drill the bone and they put this plug on which there is the implant. But they study in the university. I was studying 50 years ago how is the anatomy of the teeth and the root. And the root of the teeth, they're considered an articulation. It's called gomphosis. The technical name is gomphosis. It's an articulation which is full of ligaments, which are like the shock absorbers. So when you chew, not only you are, chewing the food, but you are also giving a sort of massage to the bottom of below the teeth, and everything has a shock absorber, so it will keep away from the trauma. Imagine if you take off the shock absorbers in your car, what's happening if you go on the road? Every bump, every pothole, every disconnection will give you a big reaction to your spine, to your body that is sitting in the car. The same, when you put the implant, there is no more the shock absorber. So in a long run, many of these implants, because they every time you chew, you give a little trauma to the bone, and then very often these implants, they fell out by themselves, because in the long run, constantly, like you do the IKEA test, of the drawer, bang, 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 bang. In the long run, there is a limit in which the implant will fall out or breaks. And this is another very important consideration. It's also not forgetting that in America, where they developed the first implants, they realized that 50% of the implants are rejected by the body. In order to avoid this rejection, in the protocol, they give you the antibiotics. So I don't know what is your opinion of antibiotics. They only analyze the word antibios, against the life. So that, in fact, they kill the immunity system. So the immunity system has no more energy to release and to reject the alien structure which has been put into the body. So this is another big chapter. I don't want to bother you. I see that you want to put other questions, but I hope I've been exhaustive in my explanation.
Right. Well, I think obviously no implants. That's the message there. Okay. Good. What's the next one, please, Jeffrey?
Oh, sorry.
Right. Jean would like to know, is honey on the no list as an animal product, or is it the sugar content? So, yeah, so I did wonder that when I saw your list that we can't have honey. So that's an interesting question.
Yes, absolutely. And this helps us to give some more explanations about the philosophy. We have always to look in these issues that the honey is the food specifically made by the bees for themselves. And if you study the bees and if you study the digestive system of the bees, is made perfectly to digest the honey. So now we exploit the bees and we take off the honey from them, and this we use it, but our digestive system is not done to use the honey like this. That's why I suggest not to use it for many reasons. Also because when they take off the honey from the bees, then they substitute the honey with sugar, glucose, many other terrible stuff, which makes their digestive system and their immunity system very weak. Then in the long run, we will have less bees because they get sick and then they cannot do the impollination, which is basically the action which offers us the food, because without the impollination of the vegetables, we may have much less vegetables. In America, they are trying to make a mechanical bee, because now the bees are dying. You know, that's another crazy stuff. Well, if we respect the bees, not only because it's an animal food, it's a food made specifically for themselves. And then when we take off this from them, then we give the substitute, which is a killer, the sugar, the glucose, the saccharose, and everything. And these are the good beekeepers. The bad beekeepers, they find that it's cheaper to burn the beehive because they buy the next year a new one, which is cheaper than to maintain them during the winter. This is great. This is happening. You know, this is the consumistic mentality, but it's really this terrible. It's terrible. So far, I hope I have given you the answer. I've given you the answer, and the honey should be left and leave the bees to have the honey, not us. We can use as a substitute the malt from all the grains, barley malt.
You recommend maple, don't you? Maple syrup instead of honey.
Yes, very good, Andrena. Very good maple syrup, but not agave syrup. No agave syrup, because agave syrup steals all the minerals in the, you know, that's the same with the honey. When you eat the honey, in our digestive system, we take off a lot of minerals which are used for the bones, for the brain cells, for the nervous system cells. So it is better to leave the honey to the bees, and we can use, as you said, the maple syrup, the malt, and also the fruit concentrate. Fantastic is the apple concentrate, pear concentrate, and they have also pomegranate concentrate. There are also grape concentrate. So these are very good sweeteners which we can use, because in the concentration also many minerals are kept, and they help us, giving us the sweet but not the aggressivity of the sweet.
Okay, right. Okay, next one, please. Right, Amanda's had a terrible experience with dentists and is in a situation where she would now like to regrow some teeth. Can our teeth regrow naturally using our own cells? I know I've read about it. So there's a promising field of growing teeth from stem cell. What would you say about this approach?
I know that in Japan and in India, they are doing a lot of this type of researches. But the problem is that in order to regrow, you need a very good quantity of energy. Before we were speaking about the food, we were speaking about energy. Again, here, if you want to regrow the teeth, because I believe in the possibility of regrowth, because I had already 3 people in my career which they regrew the 3rd set of teeth, 1 or 2 teeth in the mouth, not all the teeth. But the problem is that if you, for example, when they do the extractions, when you take the antibiotics, you take the painkillers for the extraction, you take the anti-inflammations and you know, the paracetamol and everything, you kill the energy of regeneration. That's why I believe in the regrowth, but you not only what they can do through the stamina cell, but there are many other ways, because remember that we have an auric body, a body made of light, auric body, and the auric body is needed, is a sort of electromagnetic field which helps to reorient the cells, which have to regrow and reconstruct what we have lost. But the problem is the loss of energy is so huge that this is not enough to allow this process to be done. And in order to get the energy, of course, we have to direct ourselves basically from the food, but after the food, there is the energy loss in the life. Then there is the emotional loss with emotional and stressful emotions. Then the thought which are blocking our mind to explore the possibility of developing what the normal science says is a miracle. The miracle is an action that happens because there are the laws of nature which have been respected and supplied the energy for the process, you know. So, but for the moment, we are on the window. We are at the window watching what they are doing. But the problem is that if you want to regrow the teeth, not only you can use the stamina cells, but then you need the energy to regrow the cells which have to develop. And this is another big step.
Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. Right.
Number 3.
Right. My son, age 12, has a broken top left, the one behind the incisor, and it's been like this for some time. But apart from that, he can't find an available NHS dentist. He would really prefer a holistic dentist, and they are very rare. As this is quite desperate now, can you give me advice of the best course of action for him? And that's from Kathy.
The best course of action, you have to find, you will probably don't find an NHS dentist because they are mainstream. They will approach the mouth and the teeth with what they studied in the university. When we speak about oral restoration, we have also people that are following the system of natural life, and we maybe can contact some people that are out of the mainstream system, and if they want, because one I know but is retired and is very, how can we say, is not very open to expose himself to the bombardment that the mainstream would give him if he offers alternative ways. But of course, this child should be seen by somebody. We can find maybe somebody who can give some advice in accordance with the system of natural life. But of course, don't expect this as an official version or an official statement. You know, you have to become self-standing, independent. We are determined, and you take the responsibility on yourself, because also remember, when you go to the doctors now, they make you sign that they do, but under your responsibility what they do. So if you die, there is no problem. The responsibility is yours, is not theirs.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Yeah. Say no more.
Very good. But there is the possibility maybe to see if the child can be seen by one of these persons. I know some, especially one, but he's a friend of mine. So I have to convince him to give this maybe session of this view, because he asked me to be totally not involved in public positions. You know, it's very important. This is very important.
We get that lady to email you and take it from there. Okay, what's the next one, please?
No, that's it.
Oh, that's it. Right. Okay. I've got 7 questions here.
Wow. God.
Yeah, so I'm not going to read out names or anything. I've just written down because I've had to take it all off my phone. Right,
Yes.
the first one is from somebody who says about raised plasma viscosity. What can she do about it?
Can you repeat? I could not hear perfectly. Plasma viscosity, you said.
Yeah, it's raised. Her viscosity is raised. What can she do about it to bring it down?
Okay, normally, if the blood is too thick, the problem mostly is related with the liver. So, and also a little bit with the kidney. So the problem is to avoid immediately all the animal products, all the no food that we have given already the list of the yes food and no food. In the meantime, to make the blood thinner and more fluid, there is a herb which is called the Queen of the Meadows, which has been given fantastic results to the people who had this kind of problem. But the food becomes paramount, is the base, is the foundation on which we can build up all the other functions, because we need to clean also the organs which are working in an imbalanced way. Huh?
What was the herb you mentioned then?
Queen of the Meadows is called also, is called in the Latin name is Spirea ulmaria, which has been the one who inspired Bayer to do the aspirin. In fact, it's called its name is Spirea, and Bayer called the salicylic acid, which this plant is very rich, called Aspirea, aspirin. You know, that's why the name. And in France, they have also another similar medicinal, and it's called Aspro. So no Spirea, we do better, we do all the chemicals with all the problems. You know, I have seen many people using the Spirea, their blood is getting very, very good, very balanced, you know. But of course, they have to be very careful not to drink alcohol, not to eat sugar, not to eat any animal whatsoever product. No coffee. You know, they have to start to clean the body, and using the Spirea, which slowly will arrive to be not to be needed in the moment in which the body is perfectly aligned and in a good balance.
So would this also blood clumping cells would be this?
Yes.
This be the same sort of thing?
Yes, indeed. In fact, there is a doctor in Italy that has seen that after the people have been jabbed with this vaccination, no, they call vaccinations, but they're not vaccinations. They are terrible things put in the body. And this is Dr. Giovannini, he's a doctor of the university, and he was showing with the scans and the videos that the blood cell, they were tending to knot after the injection. And then he was giving the cardioaspirin, which is the salicylic acid given for the people who have heavy blood. And in 1 month, the blood was becoming more normal. But I know from my side that if we use the Queen of the Meadows, is much faster and much easier. Anyhow, this is one.
Right. Okay. Right. Next question is, how can someone improve their heart health so that they're reducing the risk of having heart attacks or strokes?
This is a very good question, because puts me in the condition to explain why the 40% of the death in the Western world are coming from an heart condition. And the problem is not the heart, the problem is the kidney. I will use a very simple example to make people understanding. if you have a normal car, not with the automatic gearbox, but with the old standard, with the clutch and with the speeds, you know, the engine is in the car is equivalent of the engine in the body, the heart. And then you have the clutch, which is helping the transmission to start the movement of the car. But the clutch is done by discs which have to grip and help the motion, the movement to be transmitted to the wheels. When the clutch is worn out, you accelerate the car and the engine goes in very high revolutions, but the car does not move because it's called a slipping clutch, sliding clutch. The clutch in the body is the kidney, and the engine is the heart. So one of the biggest rate of heart failures and heart problem is the kidney. But the kidney is the last to fail because is the organ of life. If you study the Chinese medicine, the other organs sacrifice themselves to protect the kidney. Anyhow, for the heart, it becomes paramount, the food, the nutrition, certain kind of stresses, and of course, the food, the animal food is terrible, and all what we say, no food, also the coffee is no good, the nightshades are no good, the many other, but you have the list of the food, so I don't mention it again, otherwise people get bored and they switch off the radio, okay?
Right. My next question is, a lady is on her third bout of pneumonia. What can she do so that she doesn't get it again? And what can she do to release all the coughing? I mean, I've been there myself, so I know it's not a very pleasant thing to go through. So what would you recommend?
When you have pneumonia and all these respiratory problems with a lot of mucus coming out, the problem is that the mucus has been intaken in the body. So stop intaking food which creates mucus. And the basic one is the animal food, and especially the dairy products, milk and dairy products. That's the first absolutely must. And then all the other animal food, because remember, the mucus, slime, or whatever you want to call it, it's done by mucoproteins. And many women, when they have pneumonia, cough, colds, they are releasing the mucus, which creates the cellulite in the women. So instead of fighting the condition, we have to fight the mistake or the mistakes which oblige the body to react in that way. So, and maybe you can help sometimes. You can use some vegetables which are fantastic for melting the mucus. So one is the black currant juice, another one is fenugreek, and they help to melt the mucus so it will come out more fluent and less hard. But in the same time, because we created the mucus with the wrong food, so we have to be very careful with the food. And of course, if you want to help in that moment, not only to melt the mucus, we, for example, for the people who are not allergic, we suggest to use a good quality propolis, which is a bee product, but is a product that the bee live with the beehive. When they get out of the beehive, they leave. They change a beehive, so we can use it because this is abandoned, is not exploiting the bees. And also you can use the queen of the meadows, like before we have used for the thickening of the blood, but we can use also to help the liver and the circulation to make easier the cleaning, and the fever also. In the fever, that's why they use the aspirin to fight the fever. We don't fight the fever, we support the fever, which is the pasteurization, is the hygienization of the body, to kill the cancer cells. Remember, the cancer cells at 37 degrees Celsius, they decay. So when you fight the fever, people are still afraid of the fever. They don't know that they're fighting to keep the cancer cells alive. The antibiotics are one of the best friends of the cancer cells. But this is also studied, but nobody keep it in count.
Hey, what about yogurt?
Yogurt. If it's vegetable yogurt, it's perfect. If it's animal yogurt, no good. No good.
What is it?
What about coconut?
Coconut yogurt, fantastic. There are many.
Milk.
No, there is from rice milk, from oats milk, coconut milk, and many others. Soya milk, they are very good. But not the milk should not be coming from the animal kingdom. Leave the milk to the baby calf. Don't make all this. But one day we can speak a lot about the milky issue. It will take a lot of time because I have to speak from the philosophical point of view, from the practical point of view, from the digestive point of view, from the rhythm of growth of this animal, the individual, and it's really a big explanation why we don't suggest, we don't advocate the milk products in our diet. You know, it's very important. Even if there was a big campaign in the last 100 years to support the milk products and the milk, the dairy products in the human nutrition. That's another crazy thing. You will understand also why there is this fast speed society, because the milk has a frequency of the growth of the calf, which is an adult in 3-4 years, when the baby of the human being is an adult in 25 years. So if we put the dairy products into the body, the human body, we accelerate the frequency. And of course, in many people, we congest it with mucoproteins, which are needed for the calf to grow in 3 years. And then the body, if it's stronger, starts to release the mucus with the respiratory problems, you know, bronchitis, pneumonias, tonsils, everything, you know, whatever. Okay.
Right. Right. Parasite cleanses. There's been a lot of research that to do with parasites and the eggs that are left in the body. So what would you recommend as a good parasite cleanse? Because I know this is linked to cancer, isn't it? There's what they're saying now, that some of the things that they're saying.
That's again the mainstream science. We are free thinkers and we see the things from another point of view. I always tell my students that the parasites are the best friends that we could find in our life, because they arrive to clean the dirt and the mistakes that we have put in our bodies. So if you want to get rid of the parasites, you should not find herbs or poisons or chemicals to kill the parasites. You have to stop the bad habits and allow the parasites to do the cleaning job. The parasites are a free cleaning enterprise for our body. Only we oblige them to stay because we give them the food which makes them happy. So it's a total different point of view. Again, we see the life and nature as perfect, not something imperfect. So, for example, very big stimulators and growth of parasites are again the animal products, and then the sugar. And then, you know, also the nightshades can also stimulate some parasites, yes. But if you change your diet, you change the pH of your internal part of the body, the parasites will not stay because they don't find a friendly environment. They don't find anything to eat anymore, so they will emigrate in another place. They go away by themselves. And you can help, of course, with herbs, but to support the cleaning, the cleansing, not to kill the parasites.
That's a different way of looking at it, I have to be honest. So, yeah, what would be the best cleanses for people to do for their body?
Stop the wrong food.
Just, change your diet completely.
Absolutely. This is the basic. That's the basic. And also remember that there is not a unique diet. Also in the vegetable kingdom, you have to listen to the inner doctor, which tells you what to eat. And of course, if the doctor tells you need to eat McDonald's burger or Burger King or Kentucky Fried Chicken or Baskin Robbins, that's not the body, that's the mind. The body chooses natural food. So, for example, in the spring, maybe you love the wild garlic. At the end of this season, before the start of the autumn, you like the corn and, the chestnuts. Or you love during the summer, you like the watermelon or the melons, the cantaloupe, because nature is so perfect that gives you also the right food in the right season for what the body needs for the major activities. But we have upset everything because with the mind we think we can do what we want. So the mind has become the tyrant and the body is the slave, when the body is the teacher. And the mind should learn from the body, respect the body, and help the body to give you the best performance.
So parasites are our friends then?
Absolutely. They are friends, but they have to be understood. They are a cleaning. When you need to do a thorough cleaning in your house, maybe you call the enterprise to do a very deep cleaning. When they arrive, you don't poison them. You pay them. When you don't kick them out of your house because they are cleaning. They are cleaning maybe the rubbish that's in some corners that they have been accumulated or under the beds, under the table. You pay them. Here, these incredible, humble parasites, they are working misunderstood and kicked like, in Italian there is a saying, you are lucky like a dog in the church, because when there was a dog in the church, everybody was kicking it out. So we kick the parasites out without understanding that they are working because of our mistakes. If we clean our body clean, we keep the body clean, the parasites don't have any reason to stay there.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Next one is to do with sleep and to be able to stay asleep instead of every couple of hours keep waking up and going back again.
Well, it depends. If you keep up every 2 hours, it means maybe for urinate during the night. The problem is the bladder that has accumulated too many minerals and then has lost elasticity, does not expand when you build up the urine production. So that's very important that we have to avoid all these artificial salts, all these, for example, the iodine salt or these chemical salts and everything. And we can use also the silver birch small leaves, the fresh leaves, and do some little teas in order to flush out the minerals which have been accumulated in the blood walls.
What about the elasticity to, so that you can hold your urine longer than,
yes,
not so frequent? What would you do there?
Yes. Well, you have to lose the minerals, but there are herbs which help. There are vegetables, but of course the nutrition. For example, think of the people with ham, sausages, and cheese and everything. They are full of salt. that then becomes accumulated in the walls of the bladder. So the bladder does not expand anymore. And maybe every hour, every 2 hours, you have to go to the loo because you cannot hold this amount of urine. When one of the biggest quality of the bladder is the elasticity. But this elasticity is also related with the spleen. The spleen is the organ which allows the ligaments, the structure, the elastic structure in the body to be flexible and elastic and supple.
Okay.
And remember also that the biggest enemies of the spleen are the animal food and the chemical food, the processed foods.
Okay, next one, bunions. Somebody's written that they were told to wrap castor oil on the bunion and then wrap cling film to help break it down.
Wow. Yeah, it could be an ancient way, but I would like to put another point of view as usual. You know, I mean, the bunion is the indicator. Well, you have to study, of course, the Chinese medicine anatomy, but the Chinese ancient 7,000 years ago medicine. And the bunion is coming from an excess of energy imbalance on the liver, plus an excess of responsibility that you are carrying on you. This I teach also in the reflexology, which I practice, and I was teaching for almost 50 years. The bunion is the indicator that you have a tendency, maybe by your education, by your way you have been brought up, the tendency to carry on yourself the responsibilities that do not belong to you. And I have many cases of people who ask for my suggestions. And I had a lady, the biggest case was a lady, she was in her 60s, and she had 3 operations on the bunion. And after these 3 operations, the bunion was looking maybe better, but she could not sleep during the night for the pain. So I told her, for me, the bunion is only the dashboard light. You know, you have the light in the dashboard which says the liver is over toxic. Let's clean the liver. Let's put back the energy of the liver in a good balance. And remember, the energy of the liver gets put in balance with the intestine and with the stomach and spleen and pancreas. So these organs are fundamental. And in few weeks, this lady, she sent me a text and she said, you know, I can sleep now. I'm very good. Only I'm sorry that I did 3 useless orthopedic operation on the bunion. And she was very happy. She's sending out a lot of advertisement with her friends, with her neighborhood and everything. Yeah, this is a good example. But I have many people. Pauline herself, if I can mention, she had a huge bunion when I met her. Now is reduced at least more than 50%. And it's on the way because it's not only a physical indicator, it's also an emotional indicator. It's the emotions that we carry on ourselves, the responsibility to feel responsible always, and then this affects our life because we cannot make free choices because we have also this guilt or responsibility issue on ourselves, which is guiding from behind.
Okay, and one last question. Somebody is taking Rick Simpson oil.
I'm sorry, I did not understand what kind of oil.
Rick Simpson, RSO.
No, I don't. I'm sorry, I am very ignorant. I would like to know more about this oil. Where is it coming from, and why they take it? I'm sorry for my ignorance, but I don't know what it is.
I had to look at. I'd never heard of it before, and it was actually on Google, but I can't tell you what it said. So I just thought I'll ask you on the day, but I haven't got the time. Jeff will have a quick look. Yeah, Rick Simpson oil. Have you heard of this? Obviously, it's a new, well, I don't know, not new, but it's new to us.
Well, we can do a research and then I will tell you more deeper what it is and to understand where it is coming from, what plants or animals
I think it's
producing. We have to see.
It might be cannabis buds with solvents. Pure life.
Well, you see, the cannabis, the problem is with the cannabis, we have always to understand why it is used. I am a great friend of cannabis, but in the total, not only because they use the cannabis as a sort of anesthetic sometimes, and that's not very good. It is very good if you use the cannabis oil, but the cannabis is sativa, which is the one that is grown naturally, not the indica, not from India, which is marijuana. That was marijuana. The cannabis, it was used to make the ropes, to make clothes, also food, and it is very good only if it is to give energy to the body, is perfect. If it is used as a painkiller, is a little bit, I would be very careful because then if you tend to abuse it, you will overload the spleen and you lose many people use the indica, the Indian cannabis, to have joints, to smoke and everything, but this overloads the spleen, you know. So that's another story. We have to understand the philosophy, how we approach the body. If you approach the body because you want to get rid of the pain, that's not very good. The pain has to go away when the body got rebalanced. You know, it's like you have in the dashboard, you have the light of the petrol on, you stop at the gasoline station, you fill up, and then the light switches on by itself. But if you take off the light and you switch it off by yourself, maybe sooner or later your car will not go farther because it's finished the petrol. That's the same with the cannabis oil. You know, that's we have to be very careful how to use it in very small dosages and not to fight. Otherwise, we strengthen the old paradigm of fighting the sickness with a magical remedy, the magic potion.
Okay, that's all my questions. But I wanted to ask you, like, you don't do any dairy and you don't do eggs. Is it because of the hormones that the chickens are fed?
No. You know, even if you have a free-running organic chicken, free-running organic cows or whatever, we have to leave this. This is not food for us. That's you know, these are products that are used for the chicken or for the animals, but for themselves. You see, like the dairy is the milk is the food for the calf, not the food for the humans. And the only one calf can drink that milk. In fact, that's the huge issues I was mentioning before. That we have to speak about milk. We can give a lecture only on that. You know, it's so incredible, and we will understand the disaster the milk is doing in this moment, and we don't recognize in the society. But unfortunately, the people, they have to become more aware that we cannot master nature as we think. We have to correct, master, exploit, and do what we want. Because in the long run, we are going to pay for this. We pay a heavy price. So we have also the eggs. You know, the eggs are the cells, feminine cells of the birds or animals which have the eggs, and they need to be fertilized, and then they become an individual. So when you eat the eggs that have not been fertilized, you eat an energy that is animal energy, feminine energy, incomplete. So then I just use always with my students this example that maybe almost all the world knows. You know, Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci has been one of the greatest geniuses in the human history. And he was already vegetarian, but one of his main food was the eggs. And the Guicciardini, who is the writer of his biography, mentioned that Leonardo was giving so many troubles to his to the people who were asking his services, the people like the kings, the nobles, which are asking for his masterpieces, and he could almost never finish in the right time. And many times he could not finish, so his students had to finish and to put an accomplishment, his portraits or things. And that's because that's the energy of the unfinished in the egg, the normal egg, which is not fertilized. When instead you have a free-running chicken with the fertilized eggs, because the hen and the rooster, they have sex, then the eggs gets fertilized. But in that moment in which the egg is fertilized, you are eating the energy of an animal individual. And even if it is small in your body, this energy has to be cleared by the spleen, which is amazing. But these are, you know, speeches that we can do after we have understood more the energy, the body, how it works, the organs, and that we are all together, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, you know. And these levels are all working together. They should be in harmony. But then when we imbalance, we create the imbalance, the first signals are not on the physical level, but are on the spiritual level, then psychic level, then emotional level, and then we arrive to the auric field. And these are the laws of the sickness and the law of the healing, you know, that is reversed. So then the animals, we will need a much deeper explanation, which today probably we don't have so much time, in which we decide each subject to be fully disclosed and analyzed, and to understand why you have people crazy like me to tell you not to eat animal food, not to eat dairy, not to eat fish, not to eat eggs or whatever, whatsoever.
Yeah, and then we say, well, what can we eat?
Ah, that's a beautiful question.
Well, no, but you know, when I was horrified, when I first saw your list of all the things I couldn't have, you know, I could have a few nuts and seeds and some vegetables. And we've, like in the past, we've grown addicted to like eating breads and eggs and cheese and all of these things, which is clogging up our bodies. So obviously I'm fine-tuning my body the best way I can all the time.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm aware of when I eat something and there's something in it, I'll sneeze a few times not long after, and I know there's a reaction to something I've just eaten.
Yes. I have to tell you that for more than 40 years, I organized a cultural association in Italy in which the people were coming, we were giving lectures, seminars, and also cooking teachings. So we were showing them what we could do with the vegetables. We can do almost everything. And I remember exactly when I was 25, 27, I was in Canada, and I was studying bioenergy and nutrition. I was in the Canadian College of Natural Healing. And Jimmy Marshall was one of the best students of Dr. Jensen, the greatest iridologist probably of history. He was the director of our school, Dr. Jensen. I had a very good relationship also when he came to Italy to give lectures and everything. And when he saw my eyes, I was studying iridology, and he told me, my God, your liver is in a very bad condition. And then I told him, I know, because 5 years ago I was dying of a liver condition. And I said myself, eating only rice, vegetables, and fruits, because these I learned from Dr. Sidlauskas when I was 18 in Ottawa, in the Child Study Center, where she was applying the psychotherapies to the children with learning disabilities, behavioral problems. And she was saying, we cannot apply the psychological therapies or techniques if the body is not in a good balance. So she was taking off animal food, sugar, all the food that Dr. Shelton, the greatest hygienist, was teaching already 100 years ago. And this I could not, I remember clearly that I was always open to the scientific, let's say interesting research and the informations. But I was speaking, I had the same language like yours, same sentences. I cannot live on that. But then when I became very sick, I saved my life eating only rice, vegetables, and fruit in 1974 in Italy, where there was nothing about the natural food or anything. And I saved myself, but then I got sick again, because slowly, after you eat for a long time the same food, you don't have any knowledge of alternatives. Then you become bored, you want to get out, you feel caged. So I remember when I was, Dr. Jimmy Marshall was watching my eyes, and he said, your liver is really like Swiss cheese. Yes, you're right, because I start to feel the same symptoms like I felt 5 years ago. And then he told me, what did you do? I said, I ate rice, vegetables, fruits, grains for more than 6 months, and I was totally recovered. Then he said, but now you are getting there again. Yes, I said, I feel my health is going downhill slowly, because I was having some social life, not drinking alcohol, but the sugar drinks, ice creams again, little bit of tomato once in a while, you know, the pizza was so. And he told me, but you know, you are like, I was crazy with cars and motorcycles at that time. And he told me, you know, but you would never put the wrong fuel into your car or into your motorcycle. Of course, I said, no. Then if you put the wrong fuel in the motorcycle and the car, you know what's going to happen. But now you're doing this in your best motorcycle and best car, which is your body. Then suddenly I became like you. I look at his face, and probably I must have had an impression of, I don't know, to be caged in a dungeon or to be put in a concentration camp, eating only vegetables, rice, fruits, and nothing else. And then, thank God, he gave me this challenge, and he told me, you are Italian. You have one of the best tradition in terms of taste of food, but the problem is that all this food is very toxic. So maybe your challenge would be to reproduce these foods with the right ingredients with no toxicity. This, believe me, I was 25, 26. It was the right stimulation for me. And now I am 72, so it's almost 50 years. And I started to do this, what he told me. And the first years were very bad, you know, because I did not know many of the alternatives. And I was eating a lot of tofu, because the tofu, I knew it. And I had the tofu coming out of my eyes, from my ears, from my nose. And then in 84, I met a macrobiotic teacher who taught me to do the seitan, which is the wheat gluten meat, but in the way that you can eat it, because you need to cook it with kombu, which is a sea vegetable, with the shoyu, with the ginger, and then it becomes digestible and does not give you the problems of the gluten. And then slowly from that side, I started to research. I was going to Germany, and I found fantastic food. I was coming to England in 92. I found the first vegan cheese in England. It was done in the Bute Island. I went in the Bute Island. I became friends of the producers, and I started to spread it all over Europe, especially in Italy. But now, for example, just 2 days ago, we got delivered, but privately, because I closed the association because my association was disturbing the mainstream. So they decided that I was not a cultural association, but I was an economic, like a business. So they fined me with 95,000 euros fine because I was not charging the VAT to the people who were coming. And that's why I closed it, and now I'm more up here in England, and also in Italy. I'm giving just only private suggestions and private explanations. And when I'm called, I am a teacher, so I can give teachings. There is the freedom of thought and teaching and everything, even if also now in England it's becoming hard too, because of your... but it will change very soon. It will change. Yeah, so then now we were imagine that we were making the Christmas cakes, Italian panettone. I have here in my center that is now closed. I have the oven which can make 30 cakes every time. So we were making the panettone, the Easter cakes. We were making the ice creams. I was for 20 years without ice cream. Then I started to. A friend of mine was an ice cream maker. We started to make the vegan ice cream, which were better than the normal ice creams, with no sugar, with the malt, at the start we used the soy milk, but then we used the rice milk, which is very good. Also, 3 days ago, we had the delivery of the sprouted rice cheese. We have the Parmesan cheese, grated and in slices. Then we have the mozzarella, 3 types of mozzarella. One which melts perfectly on the pizza. The other one which is in the juice, is floating in its juice. And the other one which is to slice like a little salami. Then we have the gorgonzola cheese, which is so delicious. It has inside the nori seaweeds plus the ferments, the enzymes which make the gorgonzola cheese, not from animals, but from vegetables. Then we have the cheddar cheese, sliced cheddar cheese, which is very good. We have the scamorza. Scamorza is a sort of aged mozzarella, maybe you have seen them. They tie it with a rope on the neck. It's a sort of like a provolone cheese. Then we have the spread like the Philadelphia. And then what else? We have many of these. So it's arrived a few days ago, and many of my friends, please keep me some for me, keep me some for me. I also bring in England sometimes for Pauline's kitchen some of these, because in England now they are starting to sell also in the Purizza pizzeria, which is a vegan pizzeria in Brighton, in Camden Town, and I think in Birmingham or Manchester. Don't remember. They have Manchester. Okay, perfect. So now there are so many good things, and I know that in a few days Pauline will show. We'll have another talk like mine with you that is very interesting. Next week, but I told Pauline, explain the basic food, otherwise people cannot understand, because if you they have to learn these foods, how they are needed and what they do, and many they are from the ancient Japanese tradition, because the Japanese already 2,000, 3,000 years ago, they had already the monks, the samurais who were vegan. They were not eating animals. They were not eating fish. And also, there is a beautiful story, but I don't want to bother you today, about the ancient story of the Chinese and the Japanese. The Chinese, 5,000 years ago, they made a reform where the doctors, maybe I told already in another talk, the doctors were paid only if the patients were not sick. And the Japanese copied this, and one student of mine brought this ancient book of the Japanese history, and he was showing me that in Japan, 3,000 years ago, if you were caught eating meat, you would be put in jail for 1 month. and if you were caught eating fish, you would be in jail for 3 days. This in Japan. Yes, I saw the book. It's not. If somebody wants to search it, they can search and find the solution. This book, and they did not know why. And I said because in China they had also the doctors who were teaching what to do not to get sick, and then they were paid if the people were healthy. So if the people were becoming sick, meant that the doctor did not do the good job. So they were deducting some money from their salary. And then in Japan, the doctor was deducted from his salary because somebody got sick. He was becoming a detective and he was searching why this person got sick and if he did not follow his advice. And then he found that maybe he had a party, they had some meat, flesh and everything, or fish. And then he was going to the judge and say, you know, I told him not to do, but he got sick and you deducted the salary from deducted money from my salary, but he did this, he did not comply with what I told him. So then the judge was giving the money to the doctor and was put into jail, the person who did not comply with the health indication. That's why in Japan, you can have a variety of food, which is astonishing. But now we have also here in Italy, we can do the vegan ragu. 40 years ago, I invented the substitute of this tomato sauce. So we can have spaghetti with tomato sauce and with the meatballs, but vegan meat, if you like it. So ragu, you can have lasagna, you can have everything. The problem is that you have to know this basic food. That's why I encourage Pauline to give you these informations in the next time, you know, when you meet, so you can have a wider approach. Then you don't feel like in a jail, like I felt myself when I was 25, 26, you know. And now when I hear the people that they say, oh my God, what can I eat then? I understand that they come from the traditional way of eating. When if you come, for example, in these days, I was eating the corn a lot, I found here in Italy, but also I was making the baby corn with the bamboo shoots and the Brussels sprouts, which I was eating a lot during the last part of the summer, which we make like almost stir-fried, cooked, and you can add a little bit of this stock in powder soup, like it's called bouillon. It's from Marigold. It's available in England, not in Italy. It's fantastic. And then you can add at the end maybe some Parmesan cheese or some yeast flakes that give you not only the minerals and the vitamins, but also give you a fantastic taste. So you can enjoy and you don't feel. Also, I have a friend close to Venice, because in Venice they have a lot of wine production. There was this man who was already almost dying of a liver condition because he was drinking the alcohol, you know. And then, oh my God, sorry. Sorry, that's terrible, sorry.
About the table salt.
He invented, because the doctor told him, if you go on like this, you will not see your nephews and your grandchildren. So maybe this is the telephone company. Only 1 second, because
right, we might cut him off then.
And he invented the hibiscus wine, which with the lemon and the apple concentrate, it tastes like wine. And I have given this recipe already to many people, and they say it's better than the wine. And in the same time, it helps you to clean, because the hibiscus is a great cleanser, you know. So we have many things, you know. Also, I drink the non-alcoholic beer, if I want to drink beer, I can drink a very good. You have very good beers in England also, non-alcoholic, which also puts you in condition to have tickets if you drive the car. Then we have invented the gin and tonic, non-alcoholic gin and tonic. Fantastic. Did you try it or not? Did you try it or not?
Me, no.
Well, when you come to Pauline, or in Glastonbury also, we made a party one night and we were offering the gin and tonic with no alcohol, and the people were shocked. You can use the Fever Tree tonic water without sugar. It has fructose. Then you take only one drop of juniper oil, essential oil, and you put it in the bottom of the glass, and then you pour the tonic water, and then you can put a slice of lemon and a cube or 2 cubes of ice, and you have a fantastic gin and tonic. You don't need alcohol. Yes. So you are not in the jail or in the concentration camp. You will be happy. You will be happy. We have so many, you cannot imagine how many dishes we do that the people cannot believe. And they substitute the traditional, but they help you to be healthy, you know. So we make good taste for good health, good taste and good health.
Well, I think that's it. It's all about re-educating ourselves and learning about the different products, like you've listed a lot there. And I know this is like Pauline, who sat there, pretty Pauline, who's coming on next week, and she's going to be sharing all the alternative recipes.
Good.
That she makes with all the lovely foods. Do you want to say a little something, Pauline, before we finish today?
Yeah, I mean, when I first met Michelangelo about 23 years ago, it did, when I read the yes and no foods, it looked very much like, oh, wow, what can I eat? But it seems like a restriction. But having gone through that restriction, it has opened up a whole new world of cuisine, a whole new world of ingredients that I would never have come across before. And I utterly adore how even 23 years on, I can still find something new. The newness of everything is quite extraordinary. So I've developed my own way of doing the cooking. And for me, as long as it's on the yes foods, it's a yes food and it's a yes ingredient, then it's going to be good for me. And I have had a quieter inner life. It's been quietening down quite a lot over the years since I've been doing it. And I still get excited about putting new ingredients together. And I also know that whatever I make has never been on the planet ever before in that particular construction. So it's always inventive and always creative.
So next week you're going to be sharing recipes and you're going to be showing us some little dishes, and so we could ask you questions like what are the best oils to use, what salts, because like I know I use Celtic salt, and I know there was a question that came up. I always use Celtic salt, but there's Himalayan salt, and I know some people still use table salt, which is not recommended as far as I know, but there's the question there is, what would you recommend? Himalayan, sea salt, what is the best?
Michelangelo, do you want to answer that, or shall I say something?
Remember, the salt normally is coming from the sea that has been evaporated, you know. So the sea, remember that the life started exactly in the sea, because the pH of our blood, it is the same pH of the sea water. So this just to understand. So the salt is very good, but of course should be natural. So the Himalayan salt is very good. The sea salt also dried. Pauline is an expert because she has a collection of all the oceans and all the seas of the world, because each sea has its own personality. Let's call it personality. It's fantastic. Yes, and then you can use in accordance with the taste that you like most. So it's very good.
And table salt is not good for you, is it? Am I correct? I read it somewhere.
It usually has an anti-caking agent in it.
Yes.
Which when I was studying nutrition many years ago, I had a little rule, which was if you can't pronounce it, don't eat it.
Oh God. Yeah. Say no more.
Yeah. Very wise.
And that's all I can say about that. Just look at the ingredients on the back of table salt. You'll find something that's not easy to pronounce.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Okay, well, I look forward to your sharing next week, and learning to make different things with the products that are on the list.
Yes, and if anyone has a favorite dish or something that they'd like the recipe converted to, there's a very few little tweaks that have to happen. If you're like cooking without eggs, things like lecithin.
Well, omelette goes out the window then.
Pardon?
Omelette goes out the window then.
There's a way you can do it.
But you can do omelette, vegan omelette without eggs. You can do them.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
you can either make
they look like pancake. Yeah. Now with the cheese that we have, the vegan cheese, you can do many omelets as much as you like.
Yeah, and you can also use tofu as well with turmeric. It even looks like it, or you can put cauliflowers together. You'd be amazed because digestion starts way before we even put the food into our mouth. How it looks, how it smells, how appetizing. That's the whetting of the appetite. So I hope we can whet your appetite to come and join us again next week and see what we can conjure up.
Indeed. Well, if there's nothing else,
anything else? There's one here about which salt has iodine and is important for us. Michelangelo?
Yes, I could not. I did not understand the last sentence. There was something. Can you repeat it?
Which salt has iodine, and is it important for us?
The salt with iodine is the natural salt from the sea, but should not be added the iodine because this creates other problems. So when they wash the salts and they add the iodine, that's not good. That's not good. Because we need the iodine from the sea, the natural iodine in the natural quantity which is in the sea.
Generally speaking, salt, table salt, is basically it's a sodium chloride. But when they do all the super analysis on it, there's about 60 to 70 other minerals that go with sea salt that are there in trace amounts. And some of
oligo elements. Yeah.
And some of the analysis, certainly in America, for instance, they may go through a whole testing procedure which will test for, say, 90 different minerals. And because it's been tested for the mineral that doesn't exist, they will give it a number like gold existed in less than 0.01% of the sample. Whether or not there was gold in it or not doesn't matter, because they've tested for it. They give the result, and the result doesn't have, so it's a bit of a myth that if you buy one with even more minerals in it, it doesn't mean to say the mineral actually exists there. It means it's been tested to a particular tolerance, and that's it. So there are some salts in America that have huge long lists of, they've got more minerals. Well, they haven't. They've just been tested to see if it's there.
So are you going to send us some recipes on email so we can put them up in the show?
I'm sure. Yeah. If there's anything in particular that we want to go through, I can. Black Forest Gatto is one of my favorites.
Shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie.
Which one?
You said the shepherd's pie. Shepherd's pie.
You can do shepherd's pie, yeah.
Spaghetti bolognese.
You're going to tell us your recipes, aren't you?
Pardon?
You're going to share your recipes. So
I'll share my recipes, and certainly if someone has a particular favorite between now and next week, we can you know, like I said, conjure something up. There's an introduction to the natural life system, which has a whole list of substitutes of ingredients. And it's once you become conversed with that, then, you know, the world is your oyster, really. You can produce anything you want to.
And you can share that list
be
next
healthy
week.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
Without forgetting the mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise is so simple and quick and easy. It's incredible. You can actually do it with just 3 ingredients if you wanted to, and then play with it, because they're on in. The mayonnaise is I like to use sunflower oil because it doesn't have that much of a flavor of its own, with some organic soya milk and a little bit of either apple cider vinegar or rice vinegar. You whiz those 3 together in it's a kind of 2-to-1 ratio, plus the catalyst of the vinegar, and you're away. And from there on, you can create huge. It's just a world full of different mayonnaises. Put a bit of beetroot juice in it. It's pink. Put some more garlic in it. I love putting chopped up nori with lemon zest on it. So then you've got I just like it. I just like it very much. Then there's also capers that you can put in to make a tartare sauce. You just keep going. Oh, Michelangelo doesn't like this one, but I love it. If you soak, if you soak sultanas overnight, coronation mayonnaise that was invented for the coronation of Queen Elizabeth with the coronation chicken. So you get rid of the chicken and you just keep the curry powder. And I make my own curry powders to be sure that there's no black pepper in it. And so I mix, I put in the curry powder with a basic mayonnaise recipe, and then hand stir in the sultanas afterwards. So you've got coronation mayonnaise.
Yeah, also you can use Alexander seeds instead of the pepper.
Yes.
This is another big achievement. It's another big achievement.
Yeah. That was a major step through the Alexander seeds, which are known as horse parsley, and they're grown all over England. You probably can find them somewhere in Australia too. We can share a picture of that, and that's an exceptionally good substitute for black pepper. And many, many years ago, the Alexander seeds arrived in England long before black pepper did. Black, green, pink peppercorns. So interestingly, people that I've met down in Folkestone, when I was collecting some of the Alexander seeds, they were, oh, my mother used to put this in bread. And so she was about 70 herself. So we're going back, I don't know, 90 odd years ago, when Alexander seeds were part and parcel of what we would eat. It's just a bit, it is amazing.
I am looking forward to your recipes next week. You know, what you've created. I'm really looking forward to that. I know I create
every single day. Every day I open the cupboard up and go, oh, what's here? And because it's only Yes Foods, I know that the end result is yummy. Doesn't matter. So for me, it's really, if I'm going to accommodate other people, what is it that they want and how can I help them? Because I know that I have my particular way, and when I was a child, I loved cooking. So I've just got this natural instinct to, and I don't measure anything. That's the other thing. So when it comes to writing a recipe, I'd probably do it and then have to review it and analyze it to, well, how much did I put in? It was just a bit of a dash, and there was a bit of this, and
I understand.
But nonetheless, I'll do my very, very best.
I'm sure you will.
Also,
so we look forward. Go on.
Yeah, for example, there are some dishes like the veal, the grilled, the seitan can be used, the roast, and we do the vitel toné, you know, the the mayonnaise cream, mayonnaise with capers, and we put together with the sliced, very thin sliced seitan, and the people become crazy when they eat that. They become crazy. It's one of my favorites also. You will see, there is, as Pauline said, there is a new world much wider than the world that we have been in. It's much wider. It's much wider. We enjoy like crazy. Don't think we are like in a prison. You know, we are in a wider, freer world, tastier, stimulating your fantasy, your intellect, and everything.
Right.
Yes. Well, and there's still ingredients that I want to track down.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's been absolutely delightful having you both, and thank you so much, Michelangelo, for sharing so much knowledge and wisdom. Yeah, just amazing. And Pauline, I look forward to seeing you next week.
That'd be great. It'd be interesting. I spent a couple of years in Australia as a child, so the richness of the ingredients and everything, I remember witchetty grubs. Oh my God, in the garden. So I'm kind of wondering if there's you know, everything is on the Barbie. You know, I was introduced to barbecues at the age of 10 from Australia, really. So I don't know if there's an Australian influence there that we can bring into the whole procedures next week. It'd be great.
Yes,
anyone also from Australia who's got some.
Remember the potato substitutes, because I know that the people suffer a lot when we say don't eat potatoes, but there are at least 5 or 6 types of different products, which can, now we are waiting for the air potato that has to come from South Asia.
Yes.
What potato?
Yeah, this is. I don't know if you get it in Australia, Jeff. Do you know?
What is it called?
It's an air potato.
Air.
It's an air potato. Air. AIR. Air potato. It's all over Southeast Asia, and it's like a yam tree, and the potatoes they grow on these trees. Michelangelo's son has introduced us to it. Comes from Japan. He has it there, and in Malaysia, but I haven't found it yet in England. So I am on a quest, a search for the air potato.
Yeah, because we can eat sweet potatoes, can't we? As instead
sweet
of
potatoes,
chip, you can have sweet potato chips or veggie roasties. Yep. Anyway, we could go on
this summertime. Yeah, this summertime we had there was a purple sweet potato I had in the kitchen, and it grew some roots. And so instead of just chucking it out or just I planted it, and I delivered it to my friend yesterday, and it's a big bush of leaves, and all the leaves are heart shaped. I mean, eat sweet potatoes. It's been gorgeous.
Yes, very good. You will have, believe me, you will have only a lot of new food that you will enjoy. Don't worry. Just be patient and learn. Good.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you both so very much. It's been an absolute delight, and I look forward to talking to you afterwards. And
thank you.
Next week is the lovely Pretty, who's going to share all her recipes using the foods off the list. So that's going to be entertaining.
Off the yes list. Yeah.
Good.
Right, thank you, everybody. Same time, same place next week. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, excellent.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye.